The crux of this Melania situation is around Jeffrey Epstein. Now, if we look at Melania and Trump and Epstein, we obviously have them together. This is the most famous photograph here, which is at one of these events, right, where you have a very loaded Melania, all right, with Trump and Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. This is like, there are several photos from this event. Now, also, we have this photo. This is Melania before she got totally fucking hammered. But then there is this photo. This photo is of a particular interest. And why is this photo so interesting? Because this is Prince Andrew, this is Jeffrey Epstein, this is Melania, and this is Gwendolyn Beck. Now, Gwendolyn Beck is a very interesting story because she was named by several Epstein victims as being involved in orgies, in, whatever, eyes wide shut kind of shit. And you ready for this, guys? You know who she dated? Dude, she was Bob Menendez's girlfriend. Bob Menendez, the Democrat from Jersey, who went down for corruption, okay? Who most certainly had ties to the mob. Now, again, guys, this is bipartisan here, okay? Yeah, Jersey Bob. This is bipartisan, guys, because Menendez is a Democrat, and he's a dirty-ass Democrat. But Donald Trump was a Democrat back when this was going on, okay? Bill Clinton was a Democrat, okay? It's not just Republicans that are corrupt. It's sketchy Democrats, too. Now, we don't care what party they're from, but this disgraced New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez ex-girlfriend allegedly participated in orgies with Jeffrey Epstein and underage girls, court documents claim. Now, this is Gwendolyn Beck, New Jersey Bob's ex-girlfriend, hanging out with Prince Andrew, Melania, and Epstein. These are the orgy people with the underage girls. They are all a part of this shit. And now Melania, she doesn't want this stuff coming out, dude. She's trying to clamp down on people who talk about this. So Gwendolyn Beck dated Menendez in 2010. Okay, so she dated Menendez after Epstein got busted. And she was singled out by Virginia Giuffre in a 2016 deposition. As part of the deposition, Giuffre was provided with a list of names and was asked which ones she was not trafficked to as a teenager. Number 7, Gwendolyn Beck, she replies, according to the transcript. I wasn't trafficked to her. She was just part of some of the trafficking. An attorney asked Giuffre what Beck's involvement was, to which Giuffre replied, she was involved in some of the orgies. The attorney then asked Giuffre what gentlemen were involved in the orgies with you and Miss Beck. As far as I can recall, Jeffrey Epstein. It is unclear when the orgies occurred, but by the time Beck was linked to Menendez in 2010, Giuffre was married and living in Australia. Beck did not reply to a request for comment. Her relationship with Epstein has been well documented. Beck was previously photographed with Epstein and his madam at former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in 1995. And that is this picture. Deborah Blom, Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Gwendolyn Beck. And look at Epstein, dude. What is going on with him, bro? Right? What is... Dude, what is Epstein's major malfunction, dude? He was just like a joy boy, right? What is he doing, dude? 1995. This is Mar-a-Lago, 95. So she is deeply entrenched in this. Again, Ghislaine, she was definitely like one of the ringleaders of this thing. Epstein's brother, Mark Epstein, told the Post that the ex-business mogul said he could have upended the 2016 election over what he knew about both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. You hear that? Epstein said, if I said what I know about both candidates, they'd have to cancel the election. That's what Jeffrey Epstein told his brother. And guys, I feel like it's probably pretty accurate. But again, dude, you have Menendez and the mob and Trump. And, you know, Trump was a Democratic mob-related guy running a casino, the Taj Mahal. You have Epstein. You have all these people connected to the mob. I mean, come on, man. They're all in cahoots. Menendez was accused at the time of accepting lavish hospitality from a Medicare fraudster doctor who asked Menendez to secure visas for a bevy of young mistresses. So look at that, guys. A Medicare fraudster, and he was securing visas for young mistresses. So, dude, these guys have all been engaged in trafficking. Melania probably got trafficked, along with all these other Eastern European models that Trump was trafficking with Trump models. John Casablancas was doing it with elite models. Of course, Jean-Luc Brunel was doing it with Karen models. Menendez denied the charges, called them a conspiracy, but now he's facing charges of taking gold bars from the Egyptian government. So that's interesting that Menendez was dating Gwendolyn Beck, the associate of Jeffrey Epstein, while simultaneously was being investigated for helping secure visas for young mistresses, women that were getting trafficked. Bro, dude, this shit is crazy. The modeling industry, when we look at it, Epstein, Prince Andrew, Gwendolyn Beck, Melania, Ghislaine Maxwell, Donald Trump, okay? Some of these other politicians, Bob Menendez, this shit runs deep, guys. Like all of them in the modeling / trafficking industry. And then Epstein, the reality is the higher level trafficking was most certainly happening from people of Donald Trump's circle more so than Epstein. Like Epstein almost seemed to revere, like he opened a modeling agency trying to emulate Donald Trump. And now what has been going on is Melania threatening to sue Hunter Biden over some comments he made linking her to Jeffrey Epstein. And specifically what Hunter Biden said was Hunter Biden said that Epstein introduced Melania to Trump. And so that is at the crux of this. The Daily Beast did an article about this, and Melania immediately sicked her lawyers. And in fact, that Daily Beast article, they pulled it down, okay? Because now she has so much money. She's flush with cash. So now what she's doing is she's trying to threaten, okay? Melania is basically threatening anyone who starts pointing out her connections to Jeffrey Epstein, okay? First Lady Melania Trump recently put Hunter Biden on notice, threatening to sue him for over $1 billion for suggesting she was introduced to President Trump by Jeffrey Epstein. Now, here's what's ridiculous about this, guys, is there's no way she could win a lawsuit against him saying she was introduced by Jeffrey Epstein. She has suffered no reputational harm. She hasn't lost any money. She hasn't lost a job. She hasn't lost any contracts, right? I mean, this is ridiculous. But the fact that there's this threat of $1 billion lawsuit and all the right wingers, you know, Benny Johnson and all these other hand jivers, right? Those guys giving the double tug to the MAGA base, they are all like freaking out about this and posting that, yes, she's clamping down on Hunter Biden. Be best, right? Melania's attorney demanded Hunter immediately retract the false, defamatory, disparaging, and inflammatory statements he made about the First Lady in an interview earlier this month. Okay, failure to comply will leave Mrs. Trump with no choice but to pursue any and all legal remedies. Now, dude, I want to see Hunter go toe-to-toe here. Okay, he claimed Epstein introduced Melania to Trump. The connections are like so wide and deep, the former president's son continued, referring to allegations put forward by author Michael Wolff, who is described as a serial fabulist. Okay, now you'll notice They're not threatening to sue Michael Wolff, okay? Right? You know what I'm saying? You notice that Michael Wolff, we're going to look at him talking about this, and they're not threatening Michael Wolff. They're just threatening Hunter Biden. And then he further expressed Melania's demands that Hunter immediately issue a full and fair retraction. If you do not comply, she's going to enforce her legal and equitable rights. But dude, that's already come and gone. He did not retract this. James Carville publicly apologized, suggesting an Epstein connection. I mean, dude, there's definitely an Epstein connection. That's obvious. But again, though, this shit right here is like, we need to clamp down on this stuff. Okay, we do. We need to clamp down on this stuff, because this idea that anytime somebody in the media or anytime somebody in the entertainment world talks about Donald Trump or talks about Melania Trump, they are threatening you with like $1 billion lawsuit. Now, what I think, guys, is I think all of us YouTubers and political YouTubers, we need to investigate this. Like, I am going to start a deep dive into the Melania investigation. I mean, obviously, she was in the circle. She was in the inner circle enough to have photographs and be real chummy with these guys that were involved in these sex parties. We don't know what her involvement was beyond that, but we're going to research it. We're going to make a lot of videos about this. And Melania and her lawyers and Donald Trump, they can suck a fuck, okay? Because they can't sue us all.
And I think people's willingness to believe it is because of their own experience in life. And I wish that was the discussion that people were having about protecting children, because most of Jeffrey Epstein's victims were not like, 18, 19, 24-year-old models that came over to work for 𝗙𝗍𝗶𝗹𝗀 and elite models and got themselves into bad situation on this island. Most of them were like 14, 15-year-old girls from West Palm Beach that he would, manipulate into coming over to his house. But I'm not talking like one or two. I'm talking, there were hundreds, and everybody knew. And he had a full staff of people, and he had friends that were there, and he had, and I'm not saying that means that everybody that was in the presence of Jeffrey Epstein or was at one of his salons was necessarily a pedophile.
For sure.
I mean, he had the Dalai Lama at his house at one point. But that's how he would sucker people in, is that you would have these powerful people, and you would see kind of like this other thing going on. You could think that they must like have been like, suspension of disbelief.
Just look at that. Look at that photo, guys. Right? Like, it's intoxicating, first off, right? The way they like are able to abuse these girls, because think about this, guys. Think about like the woman we talked about the other day, Tiala Davies, okay? She ended up on a private jet hanging out with Kevin Spacey and Bill Clinton. You know how fucking intoxicating that is for a poor, like, young girl who wants to be a model, wants to be an actress, wants to be famous, wants a way out of the trailer park, and all of a sudden they meet Jeffrey Epstein and they're hanging out with literal dignitaries. It is like so intoxicating. And it comes with this pressure of they also can't say no. There's like such a severe power dynamic that it becomes this like, of course they don't want to like leave that, because who would? You'd be crazy to be hanging out with the former president and be like, fuck you, I'm not going to hang out with you. Like, no, these people can make your fucking life. But then if they put their hand up your skirt, you also can't say no, right? And that's the thing that they feed on, guys. These guys feed on this. Donald Trump said it. He said it himself. I move on him like a bitch. I don't even ask. I grab him by the pussy. I can do whatever I want. And when you're a star, they let you do it. And yes, they're always good at finding the vulnerable girls. Like the abusers, they have a radar. They have antennae that like help them figure out who the vulnerable ones are. But look at this photo. Look at this photo of his victims. Just take this in, right? And think about this, guys. A 55-year-old man having this girl naked or in her bra panties, like giving him a massage, dude. That's fucked up, bro. And like these girls, there's Virginia Giuffre. These girls are like scarred for life. They're sorting this shit out. Like, that is so predatory. Like, it is like deeply predatorial. And now, regardless of where Melania Trump fits in with this shit and her threatening her billion-dollar lawsuits, she was in this circle, okay, with a lot of people that were engaged in this behavior. In the modeling industry, the people who ran modeling agencies were doing this shit too. It was not just Jeffrey Epstein. Melania most certainly witnessed this behavior. Okay, she saw it. She said nothing for whatever reason. Okay, she is culpable for sure.
Like, that was weird. And I think that that's what's going on here. And I think that what probably exists is a lot of the victims recounting that they were there when he was there.
Here's what we do know, though, is we know that they assigned a bunch of FBI agents to find all of the mentions of Trump. And immediately after they finished engaging in that endeavor, every single person attached to this said, you know what, case closed, nothing to see here. It was definitely a and blah, right? And we're done. We're done here. Literally, the minute they finished the Trump monitoring, everybody was like, we're done here. No, nothing left to see. No perpetrators. Nobody to arrest. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.